Hi, my name is Gary Jacobs, and I'm an advocate for family law reform, and we're here today at John Jay College protesting because the Attorney General, Eric Schneiderman, is here. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for coming today. We have a big crowd. I know it's hard with the street in the background, but I appreciate everybody coming. A lot of you came from Long Island, had to get up early to come here. A lot of people from the city and some people from upstate. The reason that we chose to protest today in front of John Jay College with Eric Schneiderman here is because the Attorney General has failed to prosecute false allegations, perjury, and most importantly, abusive judges, corrupt judges, and biased judges. The Attorney General has turned a blind eye to all these complaints that we've made, as well as the Moreland Commission, which many of us have made complaints, and all of our complaints have been sent back as not part of the scope of the Moreland Commission. What we're asking for is that every allegation of a biased judge is investigated, and in cases like in Suffolk County, where Judge Marion McNulty in the Supreme Court made civil rights violations against men, gay people, and Hispanic people, and rather than allowing her to retire early, rather than asking her to leave, they let her leave with her full $170,000 a year pension and didn't make it public the reason that she was left, which would have left open the grounds for everybody to appeal. Thank you again for everybody for coming, and please join our group. The website is in front, and get involved. We all need to rally behind each other to fix this issue. Thank you very much again for coming.
I'm Don Desroches from the Family Advocates Information and Resources nonprofit organization. I want to thank everyone for coming today. We had a great turnout. We have over 100 people here today, which is great, fantastic. And I just want to make a note that next year marks the 150th anniversary of the passing of the 13th Amendment. And as of today, slavery and involuntary servitude is back in America. Whenever somebody doesn't pay their child support payment, they have the chance of going to jail. And that's just wrong. To send a mom or a dad to jail is just wrong. When you lose your job, you still have to pay the same amount of money. It doesn't matter. When you go to court, they'll still impute that same income on you, and you have the possibility of losing your driver's license, losing your passport privileges, and then going to jail. They could take your retirement funds, and could you imagine the horror of missing a mortgage payment and still going to jail? So what we're doing today is we're fighting for moms and dads, because no child should have their parent in jail just for trying to support them. Even if a parent is paying some amount of child support, they can still go to jail because of the amount of money that they owe from the past. So please visit our website at www.fairnys.org and email us to get involved at info@fairnys.org. Thanks.
Okay, I want to thank everybody for showing up today. It's an amazing crowd. It's like, got to be over about 100 people. I'm a family therapist, and I want to share a story that I particularly think about often. I have a lot of clients, especially children and many adults who are children of divorce, that come to see me. This one particular child who's been damaged psychologically because of the parents and the way they were disputing in court, and the way the system mistreated his father. Let me just tell you about the one incident. He's an adult male, 30 years old, and he's still haunted by the day he was finally allowed to visit his father after his parents broke up. He was 6 years old, and he recalls being escorted by a man in a uniform, and he walked down a long hallway. This is how he tells the story. And then he stopped at this big door. He recalls as a little boy that when the door opened, his eyes went to a room full of men and women in blue uniforms. The child was petrified. He was fixated on the uniforms, the stern looks on these men and women's faces, and he was paralyzed, confused. He thought he was going to go see his dad, but instead he saw all these men and women in blue uniforms that were just staring down at him. So this little boy, as he's looking through this crowd of uniformed men, he looks down, and there he sees his father. And what is his father doing? He's sitting at a table in prison garb, shackles in his ankles, handcuffs. His father calls out, but can't because the police automatically says, shh. And he hears his father say, Billy, and the little boy goes, Dad? And the two of them he ran to his father, but he wasn't allowed to hug him. The police had to supervise their embrace. This boy had not seen his father in over 2 years. I'm telling you today the story because we've got to stop the court system from damaging the parents and the fathers.
I'm here today in support of family law reform. Sadly, I have lived through the horrific events of our family law system here in New York State. My fiance was incarcerated for contempt of court after falling behind on his child support and maintenance payments of over $15,000 per month. Even after paying $490,000 over a 4-year period and struggling tirelessly to keep up with an agreement he signed in good faith, he was stripped of his solo pediatric practice, his freedom, his dignity, but worst of all, his children, and thrown in jail for 6 months. I know what you all are thinking. Surely there must be more to this story. And yes, of course there is. But I am here today to tell you that New York State family court system an individual's right to due process of law is virtually non-existent. Our 14th Amendment rights are being denied, and we are allowing it to happen. Because family law falls under the veil of civil law, the basic rights awarded to criminals are not granted to those unfortunate enough to find themselves walking through the doors of family court. You are no longer innocent until proven guilty. You are no longer entitled to effective assistance of counsel. You are not entitled to a jury of your peers, and double jeopardy need not apply. Yet they can ruin your life and the lives of your children by incarcerating you like a criminal. Family court was intended to protect the best interest of the child. Instead, divorce in family court has become just another big business, and the best interest of the child is all too often tossed aside in an effort to keep the business flowing. I encourage you all to see the documentary Divorce Court, as it will give you some excellent facts on this particular topic. How is it ever in the best interest of a child to keep them from a loving parent? Why do parents wish to deny their children a loving, nurturing relationship with the other parent or that parent's extended family? Why do we allow our court system to foster and encourage this type of behavior? Shouldn't the standard be for children to have both parents involved in their lives as much as possible, whenever possible? Incarcerating a loving parent over money is never the best interest of a child. Of this I am certain. I have lived through it.
I stand before you today embattled and beaten, the casualty of a judicial system I once trusted with blind faith. 6 years ago, I enjoyed a life similar to many of you passing me now. Like you, I too passed protests and sidewalk preachers with fleeting curiosity or bemusement. I would often categorically dismiss them as fanatics, easy to ignore and easier to dismiss. Now I live in the smoldering ash and ruins of a former life of peace and promise. A father alienated from his 4 children, deprived of any opportunity and right to share my life with them. A physician who lost a wonderful practice which lovingly served a large community. A pediatrician incarcerated for 6 months for my inability to sustain a $15,000 per month payment schedule. This was the combined sum of child support and alimony dictated by my divorce contract. My journey has beaten me to the deepest depths of my soul. It has brought me repeatedly to my breaking point. I have attempted to end my own life so I would no longer have to endure another minute of the pain I am forced to live in every waking moment. I once enjoyed a humble life serving others. I dedicated my life to a noble cause and profession. It has been stripped from me. Through a gross miscarriage of justice, my life has become just another divorce tale. I now live in a life of humiliation, innuendo, and gossip. Saddest of all, and as shocking as surreal as my personal journey has been, I have come to find that the stories like mine are all too common. I have entered an abyss and now pass each day entombed in the countless anonymous mass of matrimonial law and family law casualties. I ignored good advice and repeated warnings. I never believed any of this could happen to me. After all, I live in the greatest country in the world. Each day I'm grateful to be a citizen of a nation that grants us the rights and freedoms that many, sadly, often take for granted. Rights our military and veterans fought and died for. blood shed for a great nation born from a Constitution written for the people and by the people. The realization of dreams and efforts of our forefathers, men and women who envisioned a nation better than the ones they fled. How has it become that this great nation has matrimonial laws and a family court system that boldly defies all that we were taught and led to believe in?